Welcome to Wargaming Reports. This is Vampire Counts vs. Dwarves. We're playing 7th edition, and this is a 2,000 point battle. Here's a view of our starting board. We have Dwarves deployed on the top, and Vampire Counts deployed on the bottom. We'll go ahead and introduce each unit from left to right, starting with the Vampire Counts. Here we have 5 Dire Wolves, proxied with Empire Spearmen. Next is 30 Zombies with the Corpse Cart and a Necromancer riding the Corpse Cart. Corpse Cart is carrying the Unholy Lodestone, which has a range of 6 inches, and anytime Invocation of Nehek is successfully cast on a unit within the Unholy Lodestone's range, I get to add 1 extra model for each Invocation of Nehek. Next is 19 Crypt Ghouls with a Crypt Cast, then 29 Skeletons with a Standard Bearer, and a 2nd level Vampire. He has Dark Acolyte, which gives him an extra level, that's why he's level 2, and he has Lord of the Dead, which whenever he uses Invocation of Nehek on Skeletons, he gets to add +1 to his casting roll, so it's cast on a 3+ instead of a 4+, and he also gets to regain skeleton units to exceed his starting capacity. Next is 5 Dire Wolves, again proxied with Empire Spearmen. Now we have some 3 Cairn Wraiths and a Tomb Banshee, proxied with Dryads. In the back here we have 9 Graveguard with a Standard Bearer, and then Vlad von Karstein. He's my army's general, and he's also my battle standard bearer. He's carrying the Book of Archon, which is a magic item with Powerbound Spell 3, and it casts Van Hale's Dance Macabre if it's not dispelled. Some of Vlad's special qualities is he gives his unit +1 combat res. Any enemies within 6 inches of him take a -1 to their leadership score, and he is able to reroll any wounds. He is carrying the Blood Drinker, which is a magical weapon, and any wounds he deals regain a single wound for him, and he can also spread that to himself or his unit. And he has the von Karstein Ring. So anytime he's destroyed on a successful roll of a 2+, he is immediately brought back to life, and I think this only can be used once. Also, he knows the secrets of the ring since he's Vlad von Karstein, so he gets a 4+ ward save. Next is 1st level Vampire. He has Black Arts, which allows him to add 2 more power dice. However, he can only use 2 power dice at a time since he's level 1. He's also carrying the Staff of Damnation, which is a magical item with Powerbound Spell 3. And anytime it's not dispelled, any of my units that are in base contact with an enemy can make a single attack that magic phase, but it's not counted towards combat res. Okay, now we're moving on to the Dwarfs, from left to right.
Alright, for Dwarfs I chose a Bolt Thrower, a Cannon in the middle. The first Bolt Thrower on the left is proxied with a Cannon. And then a 2nd Bolt Thrower on the right with an Engineer. Didn't have enough points to put Engineers with the other 2 War Machines. Then I got 16 Warriors with Great Weapons and Full Command. And then 15 Longbeards with Great Weapons and Full Commands. On their banner I placed a Rune of Courage, which grants them Fear and Terror immunity, and a Rune of Sanctuary, which gives them Magic Resistance 1. With those Longbeards, there is a Runesmith with a Great Weapon. He has a Rune of Fury, which gives him an extra attack, and a Master Rune of Balance, which allows me to steal one of my opponent's power dice and put it in my Dispel Dice pool. My next unit is 15 Warriors with Great Weapons and Full Command. They have a Thane leading them. He has a Great Weapon, a Rune of Fury, which gives him an extra attack, a Master Rune of Gromrill, which gives him a 1+ armor save. He is the battle standard bearer for my army, and on the standard I placed a Rune of Courage, which grants Fear and Terror immunity for his unit, a Master Rune of Valaya, which gives me +2 to dispel, and spells that remain in play are automatically dispelled at the start of either player's next magic phase if within 12 inches of the standard. Also on the standard, I put a Master Rune of Stromny Redbeard, which gives +1 combat resolution to all dwarf units within 12 inches. Next I picked 12 Thunderers with shields and full command, and behind that rune I placed a Rune Lord with an Anvil of Doom and his Anvil Guards. The Rune Lord has a shield, he's the army's general, he has a Master Rune of Balance, which allows me to steal another power dice and give it to my Dispel Dice pool. And he also has a Master Rune of Gromrill, which gives him a 1+ armor save, and a Master Rune of Smiting, which deals die-6 wounds on hits instead of 1 wound.
Alright, round 1. Vampire Counts deployed second, so they move first. Right at the start, my direwolves on the right side elected to charge his thunderers. However, they elected to stand and shoot and completely annihilated my direwolves. After that, I just moved the rest of my army up. My direwolves on the left side went for his bolt thrower, but they couldn't overcome that obstacle, so they had to stop there. In the magic phase, the Book of Archon was dispelled. The Staff of Damnation wasn't, but it's unusable because none of my units are in base contact with the enemy. The Corpse Cart has a power-bound spell. It's power-bound spell at 3, and it's the Miasma of Deathly Vigor. And any friendly units within 6 inches gain Always Strike first until the beginning of my next magic phase. That was not dispelled, so some of my units have Always Strike first. Next, I just nehect some zombies. Then I raise dead in front of that unit of zombies with the Corpse Cart, and Vlad summoned Undead Horde with an irresistible force. And so that gave me 20 zombies, and I placed that unit in front of his Thunderers. In the shooting phase, my Tomb Banshee attempted to use Ghostly Howl against the Thunderers. Ghostly Howl is an attack that is resolved by rolling a 2d6 plus 2, and I roll it against the enemy's leadership. If I beat his leadership, that unit takes wounds equal to the amount that I beat his leadership by. However, his leadership is 9, it's pretty high, so I failed that Ghostly Howl. And that ends my turn, so we're moving to Dwarfs.
Alright, on my turn, I had my warriors with the Thane charge the flank of his raised horde. Then I had the Longbeards with the Runesmith advance and try to cover the other warrior's flank. The Bolters and the cannon fire at the raised dead and dealt 5 wounds. The Thunderers couldn't hit the Ethereal Wraiths, which was a big disappointment, so I didn't do anything with them yet. The Warriors dealt 3 wounds to the Horde, and the Horde crumbles by 6, and they failed to hit me back. The Rune Lord of the Anvil strikes the Rune of Wrath and Ruins and successfully deals 4 wounds to the Cairn Wraiths. The Rune attacks count as magical attacks, so they can hit the Ethereal Wraiths.
Alright, moving on to round 2, Vampire Counts. Starting off, my Direwolves charges Bolt Thrower on the left side. The Raised Dead unit charges the Bolt Thrower on the right side. My Skeletons charge his Longbeards. And any of his dwarves that are not immune to fear have to take a leadership test because they're being charged by a fear-causing unit. They all succeed their tests, though, because of their high leadership. After that, my army moves up. I move my Crypt Ghouls into the woods. In the magic phase, the Book of Archon is dispelled, and so is the Staff of Damnation. The Miasma of Deathly Vigor, though, still is cast. I raise dead near his warriors on the left side, so I have another unit there. And then I attempted to dance Macabre, my Graveguard, into the flank of his warriors, but that was dispelled. In close combat, I failed to do many wounds. However, he dealt a lot of wounds to me. So in combat resolution, I won no combats, but I crumbled some models all around. In the close combat with the Skeletons and the Longbeards, he elected for his Longbeards to attack my Vampire directly. And unluckily, he dealt enough wounds to my Vampire to kill it. So I lost a Vampire. My Skeletons crumble, but not as badly as I thought. Dwarf side.
Alright, my warriors charged his zombies with the Corpse Cart. I had my Thunderers reform into 2 ranks, and I had the cannon fire a grape shot into the newly raised dead, and he killed a couple of those. I attempted to strike a Rune of Wrath and Ruin again, this time with Ancient Power, which is successful on a 4+ instead of a 2+. I failed, but I rolled safely on the misfire chart and just failed to strike the Rune with no ill effects. In combat, I dealt some more wounds, and because of combat resolution, one of his Direwolves crumbles, and a zombie also crumbles.
Stick around for round 3. The link is in the description.